Coach Miller's channel here on YouTube. This is our first official EA College Football 25 video. And what I mean by that is we have official news about the game, which is a big deal, coming directly from EA. They released that awesome trailer. And so today, specifically for Dynasty players, I want to focus on some of the things that I noticed that I haven't seen anyone talk about yet in terms of maybe not the face value of the feature that they're saying, but how it's going to make us play the game specifically, once again, as Dynasty players. So we'll go through these three blurbs, I guess, if you will, right here, and that will be the point of this video. So if you're a Dynasty player, tune in now. Let's get into it. Campus IQ gameplay. The Campus IQ gameplay feature set introduces an all-new composure system, player wear and tear, screen shaking, home field advantages, and dozens of diverse play styles across 134 FBS teams. More gameplay. Let's get into it. So once again, you'll have screenshots here on the left and right of your screen as we scroll down here. This one's a nice picture of Travis Hunter making interception against TCU. Love it. True college gameplay. Powered by a wide range of player ratings that fluctuate throughout a game, team tiers, and new in-game passing mechanics, EA Sports College Football 25 delivers strategic, fast-paced gameplay reflecting the true depth of college football. I love all of this. So I like that it says a wide range of player ratings, because if you remember back to, even NCAA Football 14, when you would play a bad team and you were a good team, or you were a bad team playing a good team, people would just get trucked. Like, they would get pancaked to the ground. Of course, it didn't look realistic, but that's what I'm kind of looking for. In college, when a great team plays a really, really bad team, the great team usually absolutely dominates. Of course, there's upsets, but more often than not, we can predict an upset coming because we know the team that's worse actually has some talented players on their team. If I'm UTEP and I'm playing the University of Texas, I expect to lose by 30. Why should I expect anything else? And so hopefully this wide range of player ratings will give us, as Dynasty players, if we're starting with a bad team, something to look forward to as we keep recruiting better players, but also it should humble us and ground us to understand, like, yeah, my team is terrible, and we should feel like we need to be feeling that in this game. Like, I don't want to be UTEP and be able to keep up with Alabama in my first year. I don't want that. I want realism. Interesting point here. These ratings, these wide range of ratings, also fluctuate throughout the game. What this makes me think is, if a player's having a great game, maybe their overall goes up 3 or 4. If they're having a bad game, if they get cold, maybe their overall goes down 3 or 4. So many things, when it says their overall is going to fluctuate, can impact their overall. If they're on the road and their composure rating's lowered, maybe their overall goes down. Like, there's so many things that could realistically impact a player's overall. Now, of course, as a user, that can become annoying if it's not implemented well. It needs to be implemented in a way that makes sense. Like, okay, my freshman quarterback is on the road at Alabama. Of course, he's probably not going to be his true 75 overall. Maybe he's a 75, or excuse me, a 70 or a 68 that game. That would make sense. So I like that player ratings fluctuate in a game. I think that's fine. It needs to be implemented well. Next thing here that I think could be big for Dynasty players, but that's just mentioned like no big deal, is team tiers. Now, why I think this is a big deal, if you remember back to previous college football games, there's 1-star teams, 2-star teams, 3-star teams, up to 5-star teams. I think it actually went up to 6-star teams, if I'm not mistaken, in football 14 anyway. with the addition of NIL and the transfer portal, I've been thinking, how can EA Sports implement that well and create a realistic separation between teams in terms of NIL budget, transfer portal attraction, etc.? Well, you do this through team tiers. And at each team tier, as a Dynasty user, you unlock new NIL stuff, new transfer portal attraction. So let's just say I'm UTEP. I'm thinking about using them for my first Dynasty. Hopefully, there's coaching carousel. I can move up teams, change teams, whatever. Let's just say I'm UTEP, and I'm a 1-star team out of a 5-star scale, we'll say. Well, as a 1-star school, I'm not going to have that much NIL money. I'm not going to have that much transfer portal pull from players in the portal. But what if I was given objectives that season, like games to win, can you actually get a 3-star, 4-star recruit, tangible things that I can do, I can strive for that year to take my school from a 1-star school to a 2-star school. And then that next year, because I'm now a 2-star team tier, I have more NIL money. I have more transfer portal pull. That's such an easy way to differentiate schools. And the reason why you have to do this through team tiers is because teams in Dynasty mode are going to fluctuate how good they are. If I'm UTEP, I don't want to stay bad. I want to get better, right? Maybe Colorado is good for a few years. They have a down year, right? Maybe teams are fluctuating star power. This would be an easy way to dictate NIL money and transfer portal stuff. Now, that's not confirmed in any way. That is me simply thinking on how team tiers could be implemented well in a Dynasty mode. Next up, it says new in-game passing mechanics. Now, why would EA be saying this? We've seen new passing mechanics in Madden recently. I think they overhauled passing even more in this game. I know we're all kind of jaded when EA says new mechanic. We're like, oh, new mechanic, whatever, but it's probably fluky. I think they actually did some work here. I think they looked at this and went, okay, the ball needs to be released at a different angle. We need to give players different angles to deliver the ball. I think there's going to be something there. Now, I can't speculate on what that will be, but I think there's actually going to be a decent change in passing mechanics. And then to close off this section here, it just says College Football 25 delivers strategic, fast-paced gameplay reflecting the true depth of college football. Depth is a keyword here, and we'll talk about that next with the wear and tear system. Manage your player's health, limit fatigue, assess risk of injury, and avoid on-field mistakes by using strategic substitutions to ensure your players are at their best when it counts most. If this is implemented well in this game, we are going to have an incredible time playing Dynasty mode. Here's why. Manage health, limit fatigue, assess injury, avoid on-field mistakes by strategically substituting your players. What does this make me think of immediately as a primary Dynasty player? Recruiting. In recruiting, of course, you want to try and get the best players that can have the biggest impact on the field, 3, 4, 5-star players, depending on what school you are, whatever. If the wear and tear system is implemented correctly, that changes recruiting. Because now you desperately have to worry about depth. Let's say you are feeding your star running back in the first quarter. 5 carries, 10 carries, 12 carries, whatever it is in the first quarter. He starts to get tired. He takes a few big hits. Is he injured? How is it impacting his overall? Is he fatigued? How's his health? What if he takes a big hit on a play and the game doesn't necessarily tell you that he is injured, but you notice that he's slower? You notice he's not himself. Well, in order to assess the injury, you have to actually take him out of the game and tell your staff to look at him. That could be pretty cool. What if you're giving it to your running back again in the first quarter? You're feeding him, 10, 15 carries in the first quarter. What's happening? Is that even possible? He starts getting tired. His overall goes down because he's fatigued. He starts making on-field mistakes, okay? All of a sudden, you start to add elements in the game that are realistic to a player getting tired, making mistakes, getting injured because they're tired. And you start implementing these players that you're recruiting, and depth recruiting actually matters. An issue for me in previous years is that, man, I can recruit these top players and put all my points or time towards them, whatever EA gives this year in terms of recruiting method. I can put all my time and effort towards them, and I don't really care about my depth players. I'll just put that on auto, or, whoever comes is great. But depth matters. Do you want a power back and a speed back? Who's your third back? What if the first two get tired? Does your third back have a bad carry rating? If your first two are tired, your third back comes in, are you going to be at a big deficit? It makes recruiting matter so much more as you're building a program, not just one great season. As you're building a great program, recruiting matters a lot more if the wear and tear system is implemented correctly. I love this. Hope it works, EA. Hope it works, but it's a great idea. Pre-stat recognition here. I've read this. I don't really know what this could be, and because I have no confidence in that, I am not going to put any speculation on this. It just says get the intel you need at the line so you can read the field and make the right decision when it matters most. So, I don't know, maybe like reading defense. If you see, basically maybe there's weight in guessing run, pass on defense, whatever. I don't know what this could be, so I'm not going to speculate at all on that. Moving on. Home field advantage. Awesome screenshot right here. Raindrops on the helmet. Love it. The host team has a tangible gameplay advantage in every matchup. Test your squad's road game composure as you face various levels of distractions like screen shaking, missing pre-play icons, and moving playoff. All these things right here were in NCAA Football 14. I'm glad they're back. The host team has a tangible gameplay advantage in every matchup. So, Madden has implemented home field advantage. The problem with how they did it is, if the road team does well, the road team also gets an advantage, which if it's called home field advantage, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I'm hoping that the main advantage of being at home is that your defense gets a boost. In college, the crowd is loudest when the home team is on defense. And it'll be interesting to see what the advantage is gameplay-wise for each team. I do love, however, that there's composure ratings and all that stuff in this game, and I think we'll get into that a bit later, but I love that home field advantage is a thing, and it should be a big deal because it's a huge deal when it comes to college football, which that transitions us into the next section here, which is the iconic atmospheres. Decibel shaking soundscapes, iconic rituals, and familiar college football traditions that'll make you feel right at home. Love that. Pageantry and traditions. I'm an LSU fan, so this is sick. Although the band is in incorrect uniforms. Hopefully that'll get fixed. Revel in the sights and sounds that electrify college football stadiums every Saturday. With traditional team runouts, rivalry rituals, synchronized crowd chants, loudness meters, as well as real game day audio, fight songs, and of course mascots. It'll feel like home everywhere you look. Man, if you watch that gameplay, if you watch that reveal trailer, this game tradition-wise and presentation-wise is going to be incredible. And I love that because that is half the joy, half the fun when it comes to college football. What I want to put out here is loudness meters. If there's a loudness meter on screen, that's awesome. If they cut to a scoreboard with a decibel reading, that's even better. I love that they're going to use real game day audio. If they went to stadiums and recorded actual audio, that's incredible. Man, they really took time to make each stadium, each team feel real, and I love that. That adds to the depth and the immersion. And as a Dynasty player, man, that's going to open up for me like, man, where do I want to schedule my non-conference games? Like, who do I want to play in their stadium to see their traditions? I love that. Thank you, EA, for doing that. Commentary and broadcast. Listen to the iconic voices of Kurt Hershey and Chris Fowler as they call marquee matchups, while Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, and Reese Davis take the mic for all your other games. Thank you, EA, for giving us multiple broadcast teams. This is going to make the longevity of this game so much greater. I love that Kurt Hershey and Chris Fowler are only going to call marquee matchups. If I'm UTEP and I'm playing Middle Tennessee, I don't want the best commentators on that game. In fact, if that game didn't even have commentary, I'm fine with that. Make me earn having commentators in my game in Dynasty mode. That's part of the challenge of actually getting a marquee matchup. Like, imagine you're at UTEP. You finally get a marquee matchup game and you get to hear Kurt Hershey and Chris Fowler. That's a big deal. So I love that commentary and presentation is a factor in this game because that matters so much, especially for a Dynasty player. Last thing, game modes. Bring home the Natty as a created coach in Dynasty or the Heisman as a player in Road to Glory. Win it all. Here we go. Dynasty. Create a coach, love that, and build a powerhouse college football program from the ground up. Establish your coaching staff, recruit the best talent, utilize the transfer portal, and watch your program ascend to the sports pantheon. Love this. Obviously, coaching staff's going to be new here. That's incredible. Hopefully that's implemented well. Having a good OC, a good DC, love that. Recruit the best talent. I'm really interested to see what recruiting method they give us this year. Transfer portal is brand new. How is that going to be implemented? Are we going to be able to cheese the transfer portal? All things that we need to be watching in the Dynasty Deep Dive video. Love that though. Only thing I'll add, I was really looking forward to coaching carousel in this game. And what that means is I could start off as the head coach of UTEP. And every year after the season ends, I could take job offers and see which school wants to hire me. What this does is it allows me to rebuild UTEP for 3 to 5 years if I wanted to, and then move on to a different school. My objective would be to end up at LSU because that's my favorite program, but I don't want to start there. I don't want to start easy. I want to start low and then work my way up as a coach to build my resume to get that good job. I don't want it to be where I create a coach and then I have to be at one school the entire time. That is a method of Dynasty that I don't mind, but I would much rather have the ability to build a program for about 5 years and then move on to a different program because that one save I have, it's going to be fun to build up my coach's resume and look back over time. Of course, there's value in being with one team at a time, but I really, really want to eventually get to LSU, and yeah, that's just a wish of mine. I really, really hope there is coaching carousel, but with them introducing coaching staff and making that a feature, I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested to see what that means, what method of recruiting they give us, and then how they actually implement the transfer portal. Road to Glory now. Live the life of a student athlete with your creative player and take home the Heisman as you build an unforgettable college legacy. Manage your weekly schedule, GPA, and your image. Earn coach trust to get more playing time or use the transfer portal to get the time and the glory you deserve. Love this. They're obviously adding more things to Road to Glory than just play your game and earn coach trust. Weekly schedule, classes, social life, practice, endorsements, all those things, probably for schedule, GPA in your image, how much time are you spending studying versus getting your image out there, earn coach trust for playing time, or hit the transfer portal. Of course, I'll do Road to Glory eventually, but I want to focus on Dynasty mode at first, and then I'm hoping that there's coaching carousel coming out there, and that's it for that section. So we've walked through all of this stuff specifically for Dynasty players. Obviously, Campus IQ gameplay I spent the most time in. Man, I'm telling y'all, team tiers I was a big thing for Dynasty mode. Wide range of player ratings is a huge win for Dynasty mode. And man, this being a standalone feature that they're promoting, I'm telling you, with recruiting, this is going to add an element within the game. So not only are you going to have to focus on play calling, winning the game, all that stuff, man, who's in the game? Is he tired? Is he on a hot streak? Is he on a cold streak? Man, it's going to make the game much more involved as you're playing, and I love that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I am so excited to get Dynasty mode underway here in EA College Football 25 on Coach Miller's channel. Man, in the next few weeks and months, we're going to be posting some videos to see who are we going to be for our team. I'll do some research. We'll post some videos. Man, the team that we decide to be, I'm going to put some thought into it. And it's really, really going to matter if there's coaching carousel or not. If there is, we'll start from the very bottom. If there's not, may start mid-tier. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're still watching at this point, you may as well subscribe and like this video to Coach Miller's channel here on YouTube for more EA College Football 25.